Hey everyone, my name is Sam, and today I am deviating from my normal Nothing Definitive series stuff to do a Nothing Definitive experiment, sort of a project. Over the next couple weeks, and actually in the past couple weeks too, in the past couple weeks I've been tinkering with implementing a really nice routine into my life, something that increases productivity, that is healthy and productive, and all that great stuff. So I'll have some notes on that and why it kind of failed. And then over the next couple weeks, starting on Monday, today is Saturday, starting on Monday, I'm going to be implementing a new 2-week routine to see how that goes. And then hopefully over the course of either those 2 weeks or the months to come, I will one day discover the perfect methodology for implementing the most productive and healthy routine possible. Yeah, so let's start with a little preface. Okay, so I am not a productive person, and I never have been. It's always been a struggle for me, and I've always been kind of a slacker. I would do my homework, but then sometimes I wouldn't, or I'd kind of just sloppily do it. I would mostly finish projects, but every time I got right to the end of the project, I'd be like, oh, I just want to be done, and then I'd like slack the last bit. I skipped class a fair amount. I've always just been a slacker, and for one, it's because I hated school. School was like a horrible thing for someone like me. I'm too independent and I love to learn. I love to learn on my own. In fact, I've learned more in the last 3 years than I think I've ever learned in school ever. But just had that forced structure and you have to do things a certain way. And the whole idea of like you have to have answers is so stupid to me. Like, real life is nothing like school. School doesn't prepare you for anything besides assimilating into a 9 to 5 work environment. That's like all it is. It's so dumb to me. So that was probably the big reason why I sucked at school. But I love to learn. So I want to basically turn this around. Go from being a slacker my whole life to a productive person because I am in control now. I get to choose how I want to structure my day and everything. So that's kind of what this whole project is about. And over the past few years, just as part of this preface, I guess, I'll mention that over the past few years, I've been mostly working self-employed, like an entrepreneur kind of, doing web development, things like that. And I've had the freedom to kind of tinker with this in the past. And I found some pretty cool routines. Like at one point in 2012, I reached like the peak of my productivity ever. It was awesome. For like 2-3 weeks, I was just like a machine. And it was because I was doing what I wanted to do and it was so beautiful. And then I lost it because of Thanksgiving and it's never come back and I've never been able to return to those heights. So that's what this experiment is kind of about too, is like trying to find a really easy way to return to that height. So that if you do go on vacation or you do go on holiday, or whatever, someone dies, or like just whatever throws you off your path, this will hopefully reveal a really easy, productive, awesome way to get back into that. So hopefully it works. Okay, so there's 2 things to mention going into this, 2 concepts. I'm not a scientist or anything, so I'm just going off what I've read online, and it does seem to work for me when I think about it. Maybe I'm totally wrong, but whatever. So the first one is plasticity. And this is this idea that putting your brain into like a regular environment or something, your brain can always adapt to something new. So with this routine, it needs to be consistent because then your brain will expect it and it can reward like behavior for certain things. One of the things I've discovered recently is that I've removed a lot of sugar from my diet. I've removed a lot of like high intensity stimulus from my life. Things that I always did for, like video games. I got so much like reward from playing video games, I eliminated it. I've eliminated sugar for the most part. And what I've found is that I like went from hating vegetables, not hating them, but disliking them because they tasted like poop. Now they actually taste really good because I don't have this high intensity sugar into my brain chemistry, right? Like I think that's part of that plasticity concept is like my brain was constantly expecting these high stimulus things all the time. Now I've eliminated them. They've reduced over time and my brain has adapted to this new lifestyle. So the first thing is like plasticity or neuroplasticity. You can look it up and get a better understanding. I'm probably butchering the explanation, but whatever. The other one is activation energy, and this is something I read on lesswrong.com, I think. Activation energy is this idea that everything you do saps a little bit of your willpower. So every time you go to sleep and you wake up, you've kind of refreshed your ability to do things. And everything that you do takes a little bit from it, or a lot, depending on what it is. So if it's something you really hate and you really don't want to do it, it's really sapping your willpower. If it's something that you love to do, it might not even be doing anything to your willpower. Maybe a little bit. So there's that. And then the more you do things that even you don't like, over time, and it probably ties into this idea of plasticity, is that the amount that it takes from you slowly goes down. So you hate doing this thing, or you dislike it, or it requires energy of you, but you do it every day, day after day after day after day, and after a couple weeks, it took like 60 points of willpower, now it takes 20 at the end of 2 weeks. That's the idea. And I've kind of tested this out, not like really formally or anything like that, but informally over the course of the last like year or two when I read about it. I've been kind of applying that concept in my life, and it seems to work. I can take things that normally require a lot of energy of me, I can do them, trudge through it, climb through that like swampy poop water, and you get onto the other side and it's a lot easier. You're back on land. I don't know, that's probably a horrible analogy. Oh well. But yeah, so those are the two concepts going into this. Okay, so I mentioned at the beginning that I had already been doing this experiment for the last couple weeks, and it kind of failed. I mean, it was kind of like a half and half sort of thing. It's definitely did not accomplish this idea of returning to like my peak productivity. And so basically how I had it set up this past couple weeks is I had a rotation of activities. I eliminated video games because that's my big like number one addiction. That is the thing that I always turn to for that rewarding stimulus. It's something that I've been playing video games for like, how many years? 15 years solid. Like tens of thousands of hours of video games. I fucking love them. But it's time to move on and do more productive things, okay? So I eliminated that cold turkey, and I thought what I'll do with all that extra time that frees up is I'll do things. So my list for the activity rotation was learning guitar and piano, because I've already been doing that, and they're right here, they're easy to access, I can do them whenever I want. Making music, right to my left here I have a MIDI keyboard, I have some software on my computer, so that all kind of ties in together. I have other YouTube channels. I have one that does CSGO strategy content and esports related content. I have a gaming video channel that just does generic like game reviews and stuff like that. I have the Nothing Definitive series. I'm learning languages on Memrise. I'm doing exercises on Khan Academy. I was reading my Kindle, learning some other stuff. One thing I do or try to do is when I watch like anything, even like movies or something, I'll take notes while I'm doing it. Like a lot of times I'll figure out cool like social strategy things from like a drama movie. Or I'll watch a comedy or something. I'll take notes about like what makes things funny. Like I love to ask questions and then analyze it like that. So I take notes about that kind of things. That is way too many things. Basically what happened was I started this rotation and it worked good for a few days. And then I started to like lean towards certain things that required less energy. So like, I was learning like, because I have to eat, obviously. I was learning to cook too, and I found this sweet documentary on Netflix called The Mind of a Chef, and I started watching that, and I got addicted to that. So I ended up doing like learning to cook and dropping like all these other activities, or like just doing them here and there. So what I want to do for the next couple weeks is simplify it. I literally am only going to do Nothing Definitive series, and I'm going to do what I'm calling mindfulness activities, which is meditation, exercise, and yoga, and stretching, I guess. Yeah, that'll simplify it. It'll make it really easy. Meditation and exercise and stuff. I mean, exercise gets me energized. Meditation, it calms me down and allows me to think, and it actually restores my willpower, and it allows me, whenever I find myself meditating, when I get done, if I have work to do, it's easier for me to just start doing the work than it is if I try and do it without meditating. So I'm going to just do those two activities, and then if I see, the thing is I want to do these other things too. So what I'm thinking is that on days when I feel comfortable and happy with the amount of work I've got done. So all I did for the whole day was, well, of course I have to work and make money too, but on days where I'm satisfied with the amount of work I've done for this project, this experiment, then I will allow myself to do things like learning the instruments or making music or making other content or learning the languages or something like that. I'll do them as like late night activities, not into the rotation of the day, because that was just too distracting. I don't think my mind, with that plasticity concept, there was too much going on. It didn't latch on to anything. Nothing got easier. So what I'm actually thinking is that over the next couple weeks, it'll be really simple, and then maybe over the next month or two, then you can slowly start injecting one at a time, right? So you can do nothing definitive series, meditation, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. Then you can inject a third thing when that's really, really implemented. So that's kind of the idea right now. Okay, so that's basically the quick overview of the experiment. So over the next couple weeks now, what I'm going to be doing, along with Nothing Definitive series, is releasing update videos. And I have other things to talk about. I could talk about them right now, but I figure I'll cut this video a bit shorter. Otherwise, it's going to go on for a half an hour or longer. I have a number of things to talk about. So I'll make sure in the video title it's obvious. It'll say something like plasticity experiment update number 1, update number 2, update number 3, something like that. And then that'll have different things to consider, things that might be more optimal, and hopefully over the course of this experiment and over the course of the future, the perfect routine will come to light, and I can share it with you, and then we can all go off and just live awesome lives of super productivity and accomplish all our dreams and all that kind of stuff, right? I don't know if it'll be quite that good, but hopefully it's at least better than sitting around playing video games all the time. Yeah, so that's all I have for today. Thank you very much for watching as always. Please consider subscribing. Every subscription actually helps a lot. It kind of is a good metric for determining, because people come across these videos and I get like views on them, but if I don't get subs or I don't get comments, I have no idea if that's like interesting or good or anything like that. So if you liked it, please either like the video and subscribe. That would be great. If you disliked it, I guess dislike it, but then leave a comment and I will try and make changes in the future and stuff like that. So see ya.